Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Saturday morning. It's really early, and this is a really bad spot to do it because there's an air conditioner right by me here. Anyway, I know I'm going to run long today. I want to apologize in advance for that. Um, there's just a lot of things I wanted to say. Um, it's weird, I've said many times. Those that know me know I don't sleep a whole lot. Uh, so I've probably been up since 1:30 in the morning or so. And these videos that I kind of want to accomplish some things to talk about always seem to make a lot more sense, and they're a lot more lucid, and I'm a lot better spoken when I'm laying in bed or sitting upright in the dark and in real life. Anyway, so today is kind of a something of a crossroads for me, I think, in this journey. The weather, first of all, if you can look behind me in the clouds, you see that in the very early morning light, it's overcast. From what I could see in the forecast, it's supposed to be rain for like the next 5 days. So I was so blessed to start the trip. I only had rain one day, and I was able to duck inside. That this is going to be something new to deal with. Yeah, I'm equipped for it. Certainly, I have ponchos for my backpack and for me. And if it ever gets so overwhelmingly heavy, I'll make amends to duck into somewhere and go from there. In fact, I'm getting sprinkled on right now as we sit out here. But today's kind of a crossroads day for me. First of all, my kids, who I miss terribly. One of the things I'm going to miss is I had bought tickets to go to a concert at Hershey Arena tonight with them. We all like Macklemore. Sometimes a little vulgar, but a lot of fun. Has some songs that the kids really love. But they're in good hands. They're going to be going with their mom and have a great time. I'll just be thinking about them tonight while they're there. So it's one of those days. It's kind of a crossroads where my kids will be gone. Not they'll be gone. They've been gone, but they'll be. It was a kind of an event I was looking forward to with them that I won't be at. Kind of like when the first day of school comes and and their birthdays come up here in a couple of months as well. So there's that kind of emotional pull on me. But there's some other things as well, um, and I wanted to talk about that. So right now I'm in Ohio, and I'm getting ready to head out, and I'm really on that spot of the journey where um, there's that comfort of home that knowing I can make a phone call. I mean, there's been plenty of people that can make a phone call and come home if I want to. Not that I want to. That's not at all what I'm implying. This has been a wonderful experience so far, and I want to continue with it. Um, but what I do want to say is, the further you get from home, there's more unknown out there, and as the further I get into the journey, there's other unknowns out there. So I did want to talk about today for a reason that I thought is really important. Um, some of you, a lot of you folks have come on to follow me, after the journey started. So you may not know that you can go to youtube.com and search Point to Thumb, and you can see all of these videos back from day one. Early on, I talked a lot about who I was and what I stood for and the things that, moved me. So you folks would get to either, know who I was, and that now the journey is more about the people I meet as I go. Um, but so some of the stuff you've all heard before, if you're someone that's been following from the early onset. But the reason I took this journey was over the last 5 years, I was working in a business that it's not an easy business, and while my company was great to me, and my customer for the most part was okay with me, the guys that made me successful, the guys that worked really, really hard, and it's starting to rain pretty steady on me right now. The guys that worked really, really hard, as in a lot of organizations, the folks that do the most and the hardest and the muckiest of the work kind of get the least appreciation. And that was hard for me to swallow, sitting back and being the beneficiary of that. And then on top of that, I got involved in a personal relationship that I had never dealt with before, in terms of somebody that I've always been a pretty low-key guy, not really much for fighting. I appreciate life, it's too short. But I got into this really tumultuous, almost toxic at times, relationship that was kind of crazy. So Um, I talked about that, and what was nice was before I left, I was able to um, come to terms or come to peace because I had become this jaded, cynical, not rage, lunatic, angry, but this beneath the surface kind of angry guy. And my kids picked up on it, and they deserve better than that. And that's what kind of set me on this journey because I didn't want to be that person. I didn't know how to change that while staying in that environment. So I essentially resigned my position with my company and walked off my job, and that relationship obviously had ended, being I was going to be going away for 5 months. However, what was really nice was, the week or two leading up to my departure, the relationship and I at least were able to be civil to one another. And really that was a sort of a landmark breakthrough for us because, well, there were times we were civil. There was always an edge. When you have something that's bigger than you, there was always an edge. And unfortunately, I read people well, and I feed off of that, and I got on edge, and it was just a crazy thing. But the couple of weeks beforehand, we were able to be civil, and I was able to go on the journey kind of with a clear mind, without that anger that I'd had. So I wasn't really, maybe when I started, the idea was to run from that as well as, be able to show my kids. And now it's, I was able to go on and start the journey without that anger. I was able to go up to people, strangers, and be me, the old me, the one that you guys have hopefully seen on these videos, So anyway, that having been said, it was really surprising to me when a few weeks ago, one of my friends, Chris, had reached out to me and said, look, if you're going to be in the Belmont, Ohio area, come on down to this country show and meet some folks and spread your word, and we'd love to have you and put you up and things like that. But the challenge was, he's at the show for a week. That was a little off course from where I was going. How do I get back up to my target area and so forth? So it was really surprising to me when that particular person reached out to me and said, hey, look, you know what, I can come get you to the show, and then I can get you up north. And at that time said something which I was hoping would happen with a lot of people, and it hasn't happened yet. But she said, I'd even like to walk with you for a mile or two on your journey. So that was kind of a breakthrough moment, and there was kind of an olive branch put out there, and I was able to. I said, you know what, I'm going to take you up on that. So she dropped me off at the concert and hung out with us, and then got me up to Canton here today, and before heading home is going to be walking a mile or two with me. I'm sorry, I'm looking at something off in the distance. It almost looks like something's on fire, and it's just bizarre to me, but hopefully it's not. Anyway, I'll keep an eye on that. Sorry about that, don't want me to be distracted, but as you know, I usually am. So anyway, that's kind of a neat thing, and at the same time, as I said, today is probably the last day I've gotten too far from home, to really be seeing anybody that's a familiar face. So up until this point, I've known that with a phone call I could reach out and in an emergency have Heather or my kids, any of my friends, Jamie, who's walking with me today, would probably drop anything to come out and grab me or see me if I needed it. And I've met some really great people. There's been some downs, but that's been expected. I'm not expecting everybody to be super wonderful and every circumstance to be a fantastic experience. But today's kind of a crossroads, because after that walk today, when we go our separate ways, that familiarity is gone. So emotionally, it's kind of a big deal, and so that's playing on my mind. And then, of course, the other part of it, and this is not your guys' problem by any chance, but by any means. But up until this point, I've had I left my home, I left my job. Uh, my kids and their mom will be taken care of them, so there's no real worry about that. Um, but I've got some bills piling up. I left the job, and up until this point, I've had a paycheck coming in, and that runs out either yesterday or I haven't checked my account. I'm not sure if it's yesterday or the next Friday. In any case, but that's it. After that, I have no income, and when I started the journey, I knew that was what I was going to do. Maybe there's a certain romance to it that, hey, I'm going to walk off my job and have no income, and maybe there's a certain kind of Waylon Jennings, take this job. Is it Waylon Jennings, Johnny Paycheck? I'm not sure which one it was. Take this job and shove it kind of thing, and storm off like a lot of people probably wish they could do at times. And in the heat of the moment, or it seems like a pretty noble and good idea. Now fast forward 6 weeks later, and the practical part comes out in you, and you say, "What the f was I thinking?" But I don't know. So there's a lot going on. So I'm transfixed by this. I'm gonna see if I can show you guys. What the hell is in that window? Can you see that window there flickering like there's a fire in that gas station? I don't know what the hell it is. I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, I don't know what it is. Anyway, I'm gonna stop. So, and I apologize about the bad hair. I got a haircut yesterday. I had a day off, and like I said, I've been up. I got kind of bedhead. The good news is tonight, I do have this to look forward to for all y'all out there worrying about me. Sean Komisarek, my friend and son's baseball coach, one of my two coaches there, one of my three coaches, but he was able to get me he donated a room with his travel points at a hotel 20 miles west of here. So after my walk tonight, it's going to be, I'm going to try to get it done early. That's why I'm up so early now. I want to try to get it done early. I want to be able to get my feet, because my feet really do take a beating. They've been really good, actually, though, with these sneakers. The Brooks Accelerator 13s, don't forget. In fact, I got to try to call the company and get a pair. But they're going to be, so I have a room to go to tonight, so I'll have a place. I don't have to worry about, working the mojo and trying to find a room. And then we start all over tomorrow. I think I'm going to try to find a church along the way. And last Sunday, I hung out with Pastor Sharon in the group at Spicetown, PA, and that town forever changed my life. Me anyway, I relive things, not just remember. Really nice, so nice of the people to take care of me the way they did and extend themselves. And the one thing I'll be leaning on while I'm out of here is people. So if I can find a little church, meet some folks, just feel like I'm part of something. That would be really cool. So I appreciate all the emails and support. Like I said, I want to kind of let you guys know what lies ahead for me. Oh, I did want to say something. So last night, I met a guy. I'm going to put on my glasses. I'm an old man now, and I don't carry these enough with me, and I can't read stuff. But anyway, so the trip has been so successful so far not because of me, because of the people that have understood my message, the point the thumb mantra. And please spread it. For those of you that don't know, again, the newcomers, point the thumb stands for something. It's not just a silly, like I'm hitchhiking. Point the thumb is a mantra I raised my kids with. It's point the thumb, not the finger. So many times we want to blame somebody, and we don't even answer the question that's asked. For example, in my household, my two little ones, I'd forever make them breakfast on a Sunday, and an hour later there'd be a glass sitting on one of the end tables, and I would say didn't matter which one,